as a tribute to Kenneth Williams, who died last month, another showing of the film he made about his own youth and the influences that were Kenneth Williams' comic roots.
Number 14 Cromer Houses in the heart of St Pancras, where I grew up. This was and still is a poor area of London. No bathroom, of course. We had a tin tub which used to hang on the scullery door. We lived on the 3rd floor, and my mother was always sending me out on various errands.
Of course, by the time I got down the stairs, I'd almost forgotten what the errand was. So I used to call up to my mother, "Mum, was it 8 for the vinegar, a pet of ham, 2 pound of potatoes?" And she used to look out the window and say, "Be quiet. Did I want the neighbours knowing my business? Come upstairs and I'll tell you." She was furious, but I had no such inhibitions. Don't worry me. I used to shoot round. The shops were originally over the road, but now there's only one shop of that kind that still remains, and that's round the back of this building. I'm out with me barrow on the streets all day, hawking me greens about. Nice cauliflowers, you can't beat ours. You will hear me shout, "I'm here, girls, nice French beans, curly little greens, and your spuds all nice and brown. And if you boil them half an hour, they're like a bowl of flour, and me rhubarb is the best in all the town." My mother used to use this shop regularly. She'd always be full of stories about people that she met while she was shopping. She said to me once, "About Lily Skinner, you know what she's like? With a face like a bum with a couple of currants stuck in for her eyes. She was in there. She said, 'Oh, I'm not paying penny halfpenny for artichokes. Oh, no. Jerusalem or no Jerusalem. You know what you can do? You can stick 'em.' And he said, 'I'd be like to oblige you, missus, but I have a tuppenny cucumber up there already.' Oh, and he sort of limped away. He laughed and then he died. It is so it touches me just a tumble down track that keeps calling me back. Love's millionaire fortune is calling me back. I'd give up a palace if I were a king. It's more than a palace. It's my everything. There's a lady waiting there with a silver ear. In a shanty in old Candy Hall. It's extraordinary how everything seems to shrivel when you come back, because in my memory this was really a very huge yard, and of course the floors were much higher to me then. We were on the 3rd. I remember I had some pots on the windowsill, and I used to sow my seeds and desperately hope something would grow there, and nothing ever did. And one night I was sleepwalking. Must have been the frustration, I suppose, building up. And I went and I shot all the pots off the windowsill. The flower pot very narrowly missed Florrie Plume, who was an old friend of my mother's, and she shot round to the Boot, which was their local pub here, and told them, "Your boy's out there on the windowsill throwing flower pots down in his pyjamas." I could have been concussed if I hadn't been wearing 2 felt hats on my head.
Push over the door. All right.
My parents spent many happy hours here at the Boot with their friends Alf and Edie Palmer. The Palmers lived on the other side of Cromer Street in Lucas Place, and they used to trundle their piano across for an evening in the pub.
A song that was a great favourite of my father's was always sung by Gus Elan, who was one of the great Edwardian comics, And it was a song which was absolutely chauvinistic, thoroughly masculine. I mean, totally on the side of the bloke and anti-feminine. And the verse ran like this. I've lost my pal, he's the best in all the town. And don't you think him dead because he ain't. But since he's wed, oh, he's had to knuckle down. It's enough to wax the temper of a saint. He's a brewer's drayman with a leg of mutton fist and as strong as a bull of corn horse. But in her hands, he's like a little kid. I wish as I could get him a divorce. Well, it's a great big shame, and if she belonged to me, yes, joining, I'd let her know who's who. Oh, nagging at a fella, what is 6'3", and her only 4'2". Well, they hadn't been married not a month nor more, when underneath the thumb goes Jim. Oh, isn't it a pity that the likes of her should put upon the likes of him? That was a very popular song. My father adored Gussie. But when my parents came into the boot, they always met cronies in here, Ralph Palmer and Edie Palmer, and some of them needed to be persuaded into a song. Not Edie Palmer. Edie Palmer always did, was very outgoing. She always loved numbers. Numbers like I'm a Lady Policeman. She was very fond of that. Yes, always did that number. She used to sing, I'm a lady policeman, I'm ever so ladylike. Oh, I'm ever so ladylike. Ta-ra-ra. When I draw me truncheon, nobody gets a strike. Oh, I'm ever so ladylike. Ta-ra-ra. And then she did all kinds of very suggestive things with a truncheon. Always putting the oar in.
That's it.
Every time a conversation got underway, it'd be, I went there on Wednesday. No, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
And people say, all right, Tuesday.
Yeah,
and then I said to her, no, it wasn't her. It was her. You saw the Friday. Yeah. Oh, well, I don't remember. And they would go on like that. Mind you, the way pubs have changed is quite fantastic, because in the old days, I mean, pubs had masses of that kind of thing. I remember people coming into pubs. I remember Ted Smith, and he used to stand at bars saying, and I told him, I said, you're not getting nothing out of me, mate. You're getting nothing. And the friends were all saying, nothing, got nothing out of you. And I'll tell you something. You tell me. I'll tell them. You tell them. And they echoed everything. And they quite like that. And that's been used in comedy a lot. Of course.
This is my introduction to education, the entrance to Manchester Street School. You will still see it written up over that gate. Girls and infants. I was one of the infants. Then when I graduated, if you can just still see it, I became one of the boys. As a scholar, my results were lamentable. I got appalling marks in practically every subject except English, and that was because I liked the English master. He took us for reading poetry aloud, Shakespeare, Tennyson, Browning, and he directed us in the school play. We rehearsed it up here on the roof. It was called The Rose and the Ring, and he gave me a very good part, Princess Angelica. And I stomped around the stage with my feather duster saying, out of my way, to everybody, very aristocratically, I thought. Mind you, I had no real idea how aristocrats did behave. It was entirely instinctive. But I did rather well, and I got very good notice in the local paper, which pleased me. In fact, it was my first taste of performing. I really enjoyed it. Kenneth Williams, with his mincing step and comical demeanour as Princess Angelica, was a firm favourite with the audience, to whom his snobbishness and pert vivacity made great appeal. First time a critic's got it right. Rough games were never to my taste.
My best friend and I spent the breaks playing what we called OG, our game, out the alley behind the school. It was a game of make-believe in which I handed out the parts and my friend used to play along.
Now, he's an inspector in the CID. Far from the world of fantasy.